So, consecutive day 993 of a diary of a runpreneur, and in today's episode I'm going to summarise my skiing holiday as a family of 5 in Bansko, Bulgaria. So please give this a subscribe, share, like and comment, as the more people we get in front of, the more money we raise on my fundraising mission to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultramarathon. All the information about the challenge, how you can get involved, is in the link in the comments below. Thank you as always, and let's get started. So, consecutive day 993 of a diary of a runpreneur, and I'm here on the last day, on the day that we travel home from Bansko, Bulgaria. We've just had 6 days skiing in Bansko, and as a family of 5, we were complete beginners and having never skied before. It was quite an adventure, to say the least. And I think, first and foremost, before I go, I'm going to miss this mountain range. If you look over there and all around, you just see stunning scenery. And that's one thing I'm going to miss, first and foremost, are the views. I think there's something just so nice about being up in the mountains, snow-capped mountains at that as well, and they're all around. So if you pan right around all the way behind me, you can see we're in this kind of valley in between a kind of a mountain range here in Bulgaria, and it's just quite beautiful. So advice to beginners if you were going skiing, right, and a skiing holiday, I would strongly recommend you find a relatively local indoor snow dome back in the UK, and you get a full day's training as a family. That will give you the basics, and it will mean that you cut out so much of the nursery based stuff over in the ski resorts. The problem with the nursery skiing stuff is it would be great if it wasn't busy, but if you've got kids like me and you're going to be going in school holidays, then prepare yourself, it's going to be packed, and all of the learning time that you would normally have, you will spend queuing. So I would definitely get yourself to the level where you can potentially get down a green slope or a nursery slope. You know about snowing, you can stopping, you can snowplow turn. If you get to kind of that level, then it'll be relatively quite easy to get to kind of a blue scope level from there, would be my suggestion. The next thing I'd do is make sure that you understand the process of putting kit on, and your kids do, because again, when you come to a ski resort and it's incredibly busy, you're going to be spending a lot of time faffing about, sorting your kids out, and should get cut off by a van. And you have to also kind of make them fully aware of how they're carrying their ski equipment, because if they can't carry it, you're going to be carrying it, and there's only so much equipment you can carry before it becomes a massive stressful challenge. So that would be another tip. The other thing I would do, as if you're an adult, I don't know if the kids struggle as much because their boots are lighter, but you're going to be getting, if you're renting your equipment, just have protective equipment, because some of it's pretty grimy. So I had a balaclava to protect my head from the dirty helmet that I had to wear. Some people don't mind, but I prefer to be warmer and protected from a helmet that I don't know who's worn. Also, with your boots, make sure you've got thermal socks, and make sure they're good quality thermal socks. The other thing I would advise, if possible, if you can get some form of shin protection or an extra layer for shin guards. So a prime example is, if you're a runner, you can get compression shin kind of guards that they just give you an extra layer of protection your shins, because your shins will take a hammering from the kind of leaning that you'll be doing, and the top of your ski boots will be kind of taking the full force of that. And if you're not careful, you'll get kind of chafed shins and bruised shins like I've got. It hasn't been too bad, but I imagine some people would suffer with it more than others, depending on the size of your legs. So that's another tip. Very, very quickly, do your research on the best times to get up. Now, I would strongly suggest the earlier you get up the slope, the less hassle it's going to be, because you've got to remember, skiing holidays for a lot of people are boozy ones. So you get a lot of people that will be boozing up, and then they'll drag themselves out as early as they can, which might be 9:30, and if you miss, you really need to be up that slope before 9. Okay, if you're not, you need to be prepared to queue a lot. Leads me to the next tip: make sure you have a fast track pass for the gondolas, otherwise you could be queuing for hours to get up there. Last thing you want to do with kids, so fast track is essential. It doesn't matter what it costs, just get a fast track pass. You will think it's the best value ever when you're here. So that's the biggie. Research the area. Okay, so we spent most of our time in the nursery, the packed kind of ants nest area of the resort up the slope, and lo and behold, a short ski down away, there was a massive training facility for kind of slightly better skiers, but not quite nursery level. And it was just up the corner, and it was so less busy. And if we'd have known about that in the early days, the first few days would have been far more enjoyable, because the first 3 days, I would say, were incredibly stressful and not the particularly most enjoyable, in my opinion. So research the area, find out where all the training slopes are, because there'll be loads of them scattered about, and try and find some away from the main area where the gondola arrives, because all the newbies will be there, and if you can get away from the newbies, you're going to be queuing less and you're going to be spending more time skiing, which is what it's all about. When you're experienced, check some different runs you can do. Obviously start with your blues. I think if there are greens, start with greens, but in Bansko there doesn't seem to be many greens other than little nursery based areas. They all seem to be blue. And also do a bit of research, speak to people or experienced skiers. Are they actually blue scopes? Because there's some in Bansko that say they're blue, but the reality is they're red. And if you get caught on a red slope and you're not ready for it, it's going to be a pretty horrendous experience getting down. So yeah, check with experienced skiers what they think are easy blues and what are difficult blues, because there's a kind of a tipping point where blue merges to red, and they probably should be classified as purple really, but there are blue slopes that are classified blue, but they clearly have red elements to them, and if you're not ready for that, then it's going to be a pretty horrendous experience. So that would be another piece of advice. I think that's it. Oh, don't pack as much. You'll pack so many different ski outfits if you're first time skiers, and the reality is you can probably get by with 2 outfits for a week. Yeah, you might get a little bit sweaty, but overall you'll certainly, it's a dog across the road. I was expecting it to get whacked, but fortunately it didn't. Yeah, you don't need as much, and also don't take extra jackets. Just wear your ski jacket when you're out, and you'll be surprised if you wear anything other than your snow boots when you're not in your ski boots. So don't take multiple pairs of shoes. This is all extra baggage, but even if you've got the ability, the capacity to take all that extra baggage, it's just a pain in the backside shifting it all. So don't take more than you need. So that would be probably my final bit of advice. And the other one, power banks for devices, because there's often long transfers, etc., that your kids will have to kind of partake in. And if you've got power banks, it means their devices are going to stay charged, which is going to give you a much more relaxing journey. So that would be my advice. So now on to Bansko as a town. It's quite an industrial town, I'd say. It's kind of got this industrial Eastern European feel to it. I always find it quite amusing, because I'm going through a very residential part here, but as with, I'm trying not to offend anybody, it can be quite intimidating in parts. Running in Eastern European countries in general, the infrastructure isn't quite as good as the UK, so many more trip hazards. So the running paths and pavements and roads are going to be more undulating, and there's a lot more scope to trip and fall, so be mindful and careful of that. Just trying to go past a few people. It's quite an intimidating feel, I have to confess. I've been down some residential roads where people have come to their doors to stare at me, which isn't pleasant. Fair enough, I am dressed in bright orange, but by and by. So Bansko is a town. You've got a main strip, which is the main kind of touristy area, where you've got all your tourists are. Everything's more expensive. You've got all your kind of nightclubby, party-based clubs and pubs, and where all the gondola is, up to the ski resort. And then you've got kind of residential kind of the separated area of Bansko, which is all the locals, and it's it's fairly run down. There's a huge amount of, there's massive chasms I'm jumping over here for drainage. There's huge amounts of accommodation being erected, and it seems as though they've kind of got it a little bit wrong, because a lot of it's unfinished, a lot of it's unsold, a lot of it's vacant. So it is very much based around the tourist trade, how it survives. You've then got Bansko Old Town, which is quite beautiful. It's quite quintessential Bulgaria, I'd imagine. Very local, much cheaper than the main areas. People think Bansko is really cheap. By and by, it's cheaper than the UK. A beer might be £2. You can eat out quite easily for kind of £10 to £15 a head. But a few years ago, it was significantly cheaper than that. And I think if you venture into Old Town, you will kind of experience those prices that are significantly cheaper than that. But it's definitely gone up in price. A lot of people are coming to Bansko now and thinking, you know what, it's not anywhere near as good value as it once was. But I think next year we're going to probably come back. We feel we've left a lot on the table out here, but we're certainly going to be booking ourselves. By booking ourselves, I think we'll end up with a better, considerably cheaper deal. So the other thing to contend with if you're running in Bansko is stray dogs. If you veer down the residential routes or on the outskirts roads, which are more busy, you just get stray dogs everywhere, and they all seem to be like guard dogs. So I've had several runs where dogs have chased me, which is fairly alarming, but I've had it happen to me a few times, so it's not as alarming. I've got this selfie camera which has got a bit of weight to it, so if I need to defend myself I can, but to people who've never run here, stay to the main touristy bits, and you might not get the scenic route, but you're going to not get too many stray dogs giving you much stick, because it's not nice when one decides to go for you. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So as I said, when I come back to Bansko, on the basis I haven't experienced even a quarter of the slopes, yes I will, because I think we need to do that before we move on to the next, or at least hit all the blue ones before I turn into a red skier. But yeah, I think that you can definitely do more here, and I think we can definitely get a better price. We were considering at one point coming outside of school half term, but that means taking kids out. You'll get a much better deal doing it that way, but again, that's a moral argument you're going to have with yourself, whether it's the right thing to do. I'd rather do it in half term if I can get a good enough deal, so we'll probably try and book it ourselves. Like I say, if you're coming to Bansko in half term, I'd knock the ski school on its head. You're going to spend 75% of your time queuing rather than actually skiing. So until the later days in the weeks where you'll be doing a bit more skiing. So yeah, that's pretty much my summary of our trip over here. Hope you found it useful. If more to the story is research before you do. The more research you can do for places or experiences that you're not used to, generally speaking, the better your trip will be. And I think we came underprepared, under-researched, and have paid the price. However, it has been a thoroughly enjoyable holiday with mission accomplished. We've all got to blue level by the end of the week, which I think is an achievement as a family of 5 with an 8, 10 and 12-year-old and a wife who's very, very nervous about things like this. And I think, we'll definitely be back. I think it's a holiday that gives you a lot of revitalisation. I'm just going through Bansko Old Town now, as you can see. It's very, very different to where I was running before. But that's pretty much it for me. Any questions or comments, drop me a line. I'll respond to everyone. Please do give this a subscribe, share, like and comment, as the more people get in front of, the more money we raise on my fundraising mission to save the lives of children by attempting the ultimate ultra marathon. And all the information about the challenge, making it involved, is in the link in the comments below. And one final thing I would say, obviously being a mountainous skiing resort, it's very hilly to run in. So most of my 7k runs have been at least 100 meters of elevation. So if you're going to run over here, prepare yourself for a bit of hill training. Stay positive, stay happy, and I'll see you again tomorrow.